Hey, live on Pat Soundbytes Unplugged podcast, keeping new music alive on the radio and on video. And man, I've been smiling for quite a while now, like probably since September, early September, as you see one of my all-time favorite bands. And if you follow me, you know I play a lot of Nickelback, and they got their 10th studio album coming out on November 18th, Friday, BMG. Get rolling. And let me tell you, man, they have rolled. I know we've missed them. I got Mike on the on deck circle, bringing him in a few seconds here to talk about this great album called Get Rolling. And they are steamrolling. This is a kick ass rock, typical Nickelback. Get out of the way, in your face, great riffs, great lyrics, all of it. But as you know, what I always like to do is I play the video because we're going to soon be launching Squid TV, Pat Calamari, of course, and we're going to focus on the videos as well as the songs on the radio. And with that said, I'm going to play their second single. If you didn't see the first single, it's called San Quentin, which is a really kick your ass, get in your face. And the second one is really cool. It's called Those Days. And I mean, when you watch the video, I mean, it brings me back when I had black hair and had an Atari and had all those features, all those items that are featured in the video that you're going to see in 2 seconds as I bring it on up. So just bear with me a second. And you can pre-order the album right now, as I have done already. You can go to nickelback.com for that.
Remember when the streetlights came on and we had to be home? Remember when Elm Street came on, couldn't watch it alone? Remember every prank call we made at Star 69? Remember trying to hit 88 to go back in time? Remember when they played Purple Rain to our first slow dance? Remember when we thought that first base was just holding hands? Those days come back in the dead of night, those days that felt like another life. What would you be doing back in those days? We'd be turning up the stereo and playing everywhere we go, and so did everyone we know in those days. And everybody got to fall in love with every movie made for us. God, I couldn't get enough of those days.
The mix.
Yes, sir.
Where are you, Brother Mike?
How you doing?
I don't see you now.
Oh, you want to see me?
Oh, yeah.
There we
No,
go.
I got to bring you back
There
up.
we
There you
go.
are.
There we go.
Yeah. My goodness, Mike. Great album. Great to see you. Thanks for your time. Those days when you had hair and mine was freaking jet black.
Remember hair? Yeah, we didn't we didn't that was one of the lyrics that didn't make the cut, is remember when Mike had hair. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, 10th studio album. It took a little bit, but you know what? The Nickelback hardcore fans like myself, you know, we're just sitting back and waiting for you to kick that door down, which you guys have. The album comes out on Friday the 18th. And of course, I've been blessed, courtesy of you, to listen to this album. And it is a typical Nickelback, in your face, great lyrics, great riffs, great rhythm with you and Danny. I mean, I know the fans will love it. We just featured it all those days, single number 2. And hopefully everybody went to San Quentin with Chad and company and hit that. Don't forget to go to Nickelback and hit the YouTube, hit the like button and share it. And again, pre-order. Wow, Mike, well, I don't have to ask you, you know I've read enough about it that everybody's like, where have they been? But, you know, it's almost 30 years. My goodness, when you guys first started, and the success that you guys have had. You know what? When you're ready to put something out, you're ready to put something out. The days of being rushed, the label, this one or that one. You know what? Look, we have been so successful. We're going to do it during our time, and obviously, I think a lot of people took advantage of this whole COVID pandemic. So, enough of me yapping around. Tell me the story about getting rolling and about getting ready and putting a new album out and the excitement behind it. I know you're extremely excited about it. So, go ahead, Mike, take over.
Well, there is a little bit of a story, and that is that at the end of the Feed the Machine tour, we the last show that we played on the Feed the Machine tour was Rock in Rio in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It was a fantastic show. We played the night that we played on was just so perfect because we played with Imagine Dragons and Muse. Oh my God, what a night! Just an incredible night to be included. And then at that point there was no, there was murmurs about some kind of mystery illness that was going around, but there was nothing really serious that was happening. I remember my son got really sick around that time, and he went to the doctor, and they said, oh, we don't know what it is, but it's not the flu. And he said, oh, okay, so so there was this mystery, and then we came home, and what we were planning was we were going to go on tour to celebrate the 50th anniversary of All the Right Reasons. That was what we were we had a tour booked in the United States and Canada. We were going to tour it, and we were just going to go out there and play All the Right Reasons from the beginning to the very end. And it quickly became apparent that wasn't going to happen. That wasn't going to happen in 2020 because nobody was going on tour, because nobody was going to concerts all of a sudden. And then we saw a lot of people in other bands, our contemporaries or whatever you call it, our peers, were just taking they were taking their tour dates and just basically shifting them a year ahead. So They said, oh, we got a summer tour in 2020, but we're not going to do it, so we'll just move it all to 2021. And we watched that and we thought that was an interesting idea, but it kind of looked to us like they were just kind of holding everybody's money. And as it kind of started to develop more and more, and as time went on, it became really clear to us that our fans, we didn't know when we were going to play for them, and we wanted them to have their money back, to use it for what they needed it to use it for. And so instead of rescheduling or postponing or whatever you call it, we just decided to cancel everything, pull everything down, and we just watched. And after about a year passed of everybody sitting in their homes, we kind of realized that the ship had kind of sailed on touring the All the Right Reasons album and celebrating that. So we decided it was time to make new music. We just didn't know when we were going to get to do it. Fast forward through to about this time, maybe a little earlier, September of last year, we started to make music and Chad started to go back into the archives and find song bits that we had saved from previous things, and just started, as they say, in earnest, assembling music and writing new stuff. And he moved our producer, Chris Baseford, into his home compound. So Chris was there for work every day. So the luxury of moving in with Chad was something that we couldn't all do, so we were kind of precluded from gathering in any way anyhow. And I live in the United States, I live in Los Angeles, but all the other guys live in the Vancouver area. But we might as well have lived on other planets, because we weren't really allowed to to gather unless you go through a quarantine period. So to go in to record for a day effectively means a month, because you got to quarantine 2 weeks on the way in and 2 weeks on the way out, which was very unreasonable. Yeah, so we largely, this album was created by Chad with the help of Chris Baseford, our producer, and they together picked through this thing and and got what you hear today. Thank goodness. And I, I, I was not uncomfortable with that at all. I trust these guys 100%. And then thankfully, when it came time for the drums to be played and for the bass to be played, the borders were open, and I could travel up there, to play my stuff. And, yeah, man, I had to get up there and get to work, and got up to Canada, suited up, and did the thing a couple of times, and what you got is what you hear, and we're, it's been a real roller coaster ride, and I guess we'll celebrate all the right reasons, when we come around to the 20-year anniversary, I suppose, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not a musician, Mike, but it's gotta, I'm sure they were sending you tracks here or there, but to get everybody together in a room, that's where the magic happens, where you can say,
Yeah.
hey, let's try this, let's try that. That's what I always think. It's gotta be so, I mean, yeah, the technology is great, sending tracks back and forth through anywhere in the world. Hey, Mike, throw a track on this, but it's not the same, right? It's gotta be.
It's not the same.
No.
Yeah, you're right. There's nothing like being in the room together, and honestly, that's how we started this whole thing, was getting in a room and playing music together, or getting on a stage and playing together, and that's just who we are. So we're really looking forward to getting out there and playing some shows.
Oh my God, 3 shows you got coming to the East Coast at November 15th in Toronto, November 18th, Starland Ballroom in Jersey, and November 20th in Foxwoods. I believe most of them, or if not all of them, are sold out, which doesn't surprise me one bit. Little Skinny Little Missy. I love Vegas Bomb. Tidal Wave kind of took me. I was like, you guys are, playing around, doing little things here and there. Was that done on purpose? I mean, it just got a little bit different. Did I catch something?
I really enjoyed speaking with you, because you pay attention and you do your homework, and you're absolutely right. Tidal Wave in particular, it's funny you should bring that up. Tidal Wave in particular was very much a sound and style departure for us. It's an approach we've never taken before, which is, when we were kind of putting it together, and different things, different ideas. And I remember it was when it was time to play the bass that this song could still sound a whole bunch of different ways. And when I was in there, and I was just kind of running the track, and Chad was in there. I like to have him in there just for feedback, and to help me know if I'm going in the right direction or in the wrong direction. And I was in there, and I was kind of musically kind of stumbling around and trying to, a lot of times that's where happy accidents come from, is you just get in there and you just play along with it and just see what happens. And at some point he said, think and play bass like Sting. And I was like, oh, I can think and play bass like Sting. I'm very well aware of his approach to things. And then that's what you hear and that's kind of, that sort of bit of direction from Chad changed everything about how I approached the song, and it also changed the way the song sounds a lot, and I really enjoy where it ended up, and just how different that is. And you and I have heard the song. I'm sure most people that are watching this prior to the release of the album have not, but I hope everybody hears it the way we hear it.
I think they're going to open up their eyes and ears and go, holy crap, Mike. Like, whoa, where was this hiding? Well, I remember, I think it was, I know when we talked with Eric the Trainer, I remember you were talking about, man, let's do a whole Slayer cover album. Let's just do something. Let's make it really a heavy metal, and really fuck around, excuse my language, fuck around with the people compared to the typical, rock star and, all that stuff. But no, I like, look, to me, there's no more genres. I think the more creative that you guys are, the more boundaries that you knock down, it just opens the door even more. I mean, you see anymore, I feel like I'm interviewing musicians that are like now in all-star bands, it's like you going with, I don't know, Loverboy or, whoever, just to try to do something different. But I get all that, but I think this album's really gonna I talked about selling 50 million albums. Well, there's gonna be a few more million when this finally comes out. I love the album. I love the artwork on the album cover, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
That brings you back, when you see that van, and I think of California, and I think of, it brought me back to like those days when you think of that
yeah,
song. Was
yeah,
that
yeah.
somewhat of the concept of the artwork?
Kind of a little bit, the part of the, there's a number, because when I first saw the van idea, and Chad has really been driving this van idea. When I first saw it, I was pretty confused, to be honest with you. I didn't understand, what does a van have to do with, anything, Nickelback related? Really, how, what's the connection here? What's the hit? And as I've spent time kind of thinking about it, I kind of realized a whole bunch of stuff. And number one, that cover art that we have is, for anybody that's paying attention, our previous cover art has all been rather dark and serious in tone, just visually speaking.
Yeah, Feed the Machine, Dark
yeah,
Horse.
They're all just really kind of serious and dark. And this one is much lighter, much,
kind of comical, kind of, humorous.
Well, yeah, it's in that kind of that I don't know if you're ever a skateboarder, but there was an art sort of style, the Rat Fink style. I don't know if you're aware of Rat Fink, but it's clearly there's an obvious kind of influence there that from those days of when we were on the skateboards and on the BMX bikes and the ramps and stuff, and that there's a little bit of that influence in here. And the other thing that I realized is vans have been a really important part of my life. We very much lived out of the back of a van for a lot of years. And that was how we took ourselves across North America, was driving a van ourselves, usually in the dead of winter, because I guess we just can't get enough punishment. But, we lived in those things. So it's sort of like, it's a combination between, fun and harkening back to the old days. And also the other thing is that it's time for us to get back in the van. It's time for us to get back on the road and get out there and see our people.
And that's where I would think that's where the title came, right? Get rolling. Here we go. We're coming back. Fasten your seatbelts everywhere throughout the world. Yeah, no, I thought it was really cool. It brought me to the beach. It brought me, as you said, skateboarding. It's very loose and light compared to the dark end of, you mentioned, we were talking, I mentioned Dark Horse. You had Mutt Lange as a producer, and how cool is that? What was that experience like?
That working with Mutt was really cool, because he's definitely, I can't say I know anybody like Mutt in the world. There's only one of this guy, and he's a really, really special person, and he's fearlessly creative and fearlessly experimental. And it was really cool to work with a producer that has so much confidence that he'll try anything and give anything a chance and give anything a try. And, it was the mentality of, we're not going anywhere until this thing is correct and finished.
Wow.
We're all going to go in that room, and we're going to work in there every day until we get the best Nickelback album we can get.
Hey, I mean, that's the guy I want. I want a perfectionist. I want somebody to say, "No, Mike, try this. You're doing it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe do that."
We had plenty of
nobody's ever not maybe used the word challenged you or challenged a guy. No, Chad, sing it this way, or like, holy crap. Or do you look at his resume? How do you go? Nah, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You look at all the gold albums and go, yeah, now we can cross that off the bucket list. We had Mutt.
Yeah. It was like going to this, the University of Rock and Roll, really, for making albums, because it was funny because we've all been really fans of Mutt's work, over the years. We've all paid attention to the albums that he's made, and we're fans of a lot of those albums, especially the AC/DC records, the Def Leppard records, the Bryan Adams records. These are things that we've listened to our whole lives, and kind of taken and dissected, and really kind of cut into and looked at the guts and said, oh, this is how you do that. This makes sense. When you do these things, it creates this mood or this feeling. and it was funny because there was a couple of techniques that Mutt would bring to the table, and we would say, yeah, we know. we recognize that move, from
We've been
previous
watching you
albums.
for a while.
Yeah,
This ain't our
yeah.
first rodeo.
Well, yeah, we stole that one, 3 albums ago. And there were some of those that we had detected on our own, but there was others where he would just come with these ideas and just say, "Hey, listen, this is what you do to create this kind of a feeling. I don't want to tell the stories, Pat.
Right.
I got to keep them secret still. But there's certain things that he had us do, especially vocally, where it was just like, oh wow, just things that you don't just know. They don't teach in school. You just got to make a lot of great records to know, and work with a lot of great singers and musicians to know how to do this stuff. And he has that background, just incredible.
I mean, you would think, I mean, that to have a skill set and a resume that he has, that he's got it down to a science, that he could bring out the best. He knows, he doesn't take away what you're looking to do with the music, but he puts another ingredient, make sure that the cherry's on top, no matter what.
And like you said, and this is key, all the great producers do it. Challenge. They squeeze more. They work hard enough to get a better performance out of you than anybody else has gotten out of you, and get the best performance out of everybody. That's how you're going to make the best record. And it can come with a little bit of pulling your hair out, as you can see. Yeah. I've pulled all my hair out.
You did a good job too.
Yeah, I got them all. But that is that's the one thing that we've really learned is, if you don't leave sort of some of your sanity behind, you probably haven't dug deep enough. And we've all gone a little crazy on some of our albums, for sure.
I mean, but when you want the best, you get the best. So there you go. I got to ask you, Chad, to me, just doesn't get enough credit and recognition for his songwriting. Not that it maybe it's just him, but oh my goodness, where he comes up with these ideas. I mean, I always ask artists, is songwriting therapeutic? I use that word. Is it a chance to express things that you've experienced, whether it's a bad relationship, a good relationship, if you've been in Canada driving through the mountains, or down the beach in Malibu, and it's a way to express. But where he comes up with, Animal, I love Animal, but I could visualize Animal. I'm a lyric guy. I want to close my eyes and go, what's the story? How I'm interpreting might not be how you guys interpret it, but that's to me, I don't think he just gets enough credit for what he does.
Well, he's how do you
explain him?
I think he's one of the great rock songwriters of our time.
No doubt.
I think he belongs in the conversation of the greats of this moment in history and of the last 20 years. And it's okay. History will be the ultimate judge, and it's all right. We never got into this thing for accolades of our contemporaries or communities or award shows or any kind of stuff like that. That's never really been the motivator for us. We just got to get out there and win a Grammy, like, please. Again, this is another opinion.
Right.
Our art is an opinion. We create opinions to put out there, and then people have their own opinions about that. And like you say, some people, or every person, I think, interprets a song in a different way, and I think that's kind of the magic of it. You can throw the same song at 10 different people, and you might get 10 different answers about, what is it about to them? What does it mean to them? What does it make them feel? That I think that's the greater part about music.
Absolutely. I mean, I can just see the whole story. I hear you 100%. It's always, for you guys, to me, when I think of Nickelback, it's always about the songs. It's always about the product, and you know what you're going to get. And How, you know what? I've read Nickelback. Well, it's post grunge, it's pop rock, it's metal, it's alternative. How would you describe it, Mike?
Uh, Carefully. uh, just only because I think that Nickelback does a lot of things. Now, if one is to only hear the Nickelback songs that are on the radio, you could very easily just say, "Oh, well, Nickelback's a radio rock band. You know, they only play the ballads and the love songs." But the truth
But
that
that's
you
not
know,
true.
yeah, the truth you know is that if you take any Nickelback album and just you don't even have to listen to every song all the way through, but just listen to every song. And you'll realize that it isn't just one thing. You know, we have a number of different languages that we speak. We have a number of different paintbrushes that we paint with, and we're not just one thing. And we're actually quite a lot of things. And we don't. We've never felt comfortable just living in one style of music. Now,
I like that.
the the radio plays one style that we do. Yes, it does, and that is really great because we reach a lot of people who we wouldn't otherwise reach. But we're also a hard rock band. We can be a heavy metal band sometimes. We can,
Yeah.
we can pair up with a rapper like we did with Flo Rida. We can do almost
You did
just about
Charlie
progressive
Daniels,
metal.
The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Yes.
Whoever thought that was going to pop out?
Yeah, and that really there's a short story to that one, and we had Chad had gone into the studio and just thrown that down quickly years and years ago, just little bits of it. It wasn't even finished, and he had our friend Dave Martone come and just Dave is probably one of the most incredible guitar players that we know. He's one of a number of good friends that we have that are just some of the best. And it just basically told Dave, like, hey man, listen to this track, and he goes, oh, I love Devil Went Down to Georgia, and he was basically just told, just go as hard as you want, just play it for the absurd.
Just take it
And
off.
yeah,
Go
and
for it.
he did. He completely took the gloves off, and he ran that thing hard. And what you hear is Nickelback playing sort of The Devil Went Down to Georgia in Nickelback fashion, and our man Dave just shredding the tits off the guitar. Unbelievable. Just what a great player. And we actually were lucky because when we finished this, we actually sent it to Charlie for his approval, and we got it. He listened to it. He said he liked it. I don't know if he was telling the truth, but he did approve it, and he said he was behind it 100% coming out. So we had the man's approval, and then sadly between then and the release, he passed on. So that was more of a sad day, but it was nice to get his stamp of approval before we went out with it.
It's a home run. If somebody says, hey, you want to, it doesn't matter what comes out of it. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Even with the haters, everybody hates Nickelback. You can say all you want. Thank you for keep talking, bringing up our name. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like Frank Sinatra said, it doesn't matter what they say about you as long as they spell your name right.
Exactly. Well, you guys gotta be really excited to hit the stage. I guess it's been a while. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit
Yeah.
emotional. I know what it was like for me just to be in an office and going, am I ever going to go to another live show again? Am I ever going to go to a meet and greet and hang out with a band? I'm like,
Yeah.
we're blessed until it's taken away. Then you go, holy
Yeah.
crap. But for an artist, I know what it was like to go to my first show, and I'm like, holy shit. It was locally here. Where I live. We have Daryl Hall's house.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Daryl's house. So I walk in the door and I'm hugging the sound guy, high fiving the bartenders. I'm like, it was like coming. It's like, oh my God, we're free, and we're gonna hear live music. Holy shit! But for an artist, it's got to be incredible to get on stage and just see the place erupt and be able to play some of these tracks. I'm sure that's on the set list. I would hope so.
Yes.
Get rolling and having everybody have a great time, shoot the T-shirts, and sing back to you.
Yeah, really looking forward to getting out there and playing for the people. You know, it's these gigs are they are rather small. You know, they sold out in minutes, which was really nice to see our people, you know, being really excited to see us play again. That was really nice. And it's going to be, because it's small, it's going to be, you know, an elite core of the most fervent and the most loving fans. I think the ones at least we can say they'll be the fastest ones because they were able to get the tickets faster than everybody else, because there just simply wasn't enough of them available, and that was by design. We want it to be small and special.
Is there a plan? I got to ask you, Mike. Is there a plan to, after you get done with these 3 shows, down the line to, okay, now we're gonna go for it and take it, whether it starts in Canada or the States?
Oh yeah. That's we're just finishing the planning and the routing for a tour for next summer, starting in June. I believe we're going to start in Quebec somewhere in June, and then make our way across North America.
Excellent. Well, I've taken enough of your time today. I am honored. I can't get the smile off my face. It's called Get Rolling. It's their 10th studio album, and I'm telling you, they're going to sell a bunch of more millions. You're going to love listening to the whole album. I love the flow of the album, Mike. I really love how the tracks are lined up, and it keeps you going, because I listen to it now probably 3 or 4 times and going. I like that. I don't like to, it's like not 5 in-your-face things and then you go to a ballad. It keeps you going, which I think is important when
glad.
For somebody like me. We've already played San Quentin. I'm keeping new music alive and throwing on those days, so it's all good stuff. Anything else I can help to promote for you, my friend? Are you working on a book? Are you teaching killer bass lines?
No, I mean, really, I'm just so happy that, it looks like the world is ready for new Nickelback music and a new Nickelback tour, and we're just really excited to just get out there and get in front of our people again. So excited.
I can't wait, because I need a new t-shirt, but I'm not giving away my 2007 t-shirt, I can tell you that.
Yeah, man. We'll get you one that looks like your background there. No problem.
I love it. Go get it today. Pre-order at nickelback.com. You're going to crank it up. And check out Tidal Wave. You're going to be calling me going, wow, Tidal Wave, check this shit out. All really good. Mike, I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did.
Man, of course. Thank you, Pat. It was great to talk with you.
It doesn't get any better than this. Mike Kroeger, Nickelback is back, and they're rolling with vengeance. Right here on Pat's Soundbytes Unplugged Podcast. Go get it today.